Dragons can be seen in many forms, sometimes like a serpent, sometimes like a western dragon, sometimes like a wyvern, sometimes like a lindworm. So they have many different forms, and many different forms that they can take because they want to come to you and approach you in a form that is most likely suitable for you, so that you will not be afraid once you will feel your dragon and especially see your dragon. There are so many forms, and sometimes the dragon can take the form of a human. And in the beginning of my path, sometimes when I felt the dragon, when I felt the dragon very much, I was convinced about the existence of the dragon, so much so that I was afraid sometimes for what I'm going to do for them. So every action that I did for the dragon, it was such with anxiety, so that I would do something wrong for them. Maybe that I was thinking something wrong, because in the deepest of my mind, I knew that the dragon was knowing what I was thinking. So they know what I was thinking, taking the form of what I was thinking, so that I would understand that they would know what we are, what we have in our mind. And sometimes they come to us just as another winged, sometimes human being. And this is in fact something that I learned, that why we shouldn't be afraid to make mistakes in our path. Because a dragon's love, a dragon's connection, a serpent's connection as well, is eternal. It doesn't break. That is why your dragon eye is standing for, that it will not break ever, ever, ever soon. That is why we shouldn't be afraid of it. We shouldn't be afraid, but we should be loving it. We should be loving every second of it. Of course, you cannot talk to them like in physical form, like you talk with another human being, but you can talk with them with your mind. And that reminds me of a story, a very ancient story, a story that is some kind of known and also very much misunderstood in kind, and is felt into mythology later on, and now still feared. But you have to see another part of this story, and that is what should say to you that we shouldn't be afraid to make mistakes in our path, because serpents and dragons, they love us. They love the ones they love. I mean, for eternity. It will not break as long as their dragon eye is intact. So this was about a girl a long time ago. She was a very old species. I mean, she was half of the species that originated from Atlantis, and she was actually a child that had sisters that had scales, that had serpent-like features, and even wings. But this girl didn't have it. She was born as completely a human being. She had no scales, she had no wings, she had no serpent-like features. She was the only one, and even more, she was one of the most beautiful girls that the island where she lived has ever seen. Of course, her sisters were demonized, but not her. And um, she was also a preacher for the gods, a preacher for many gods, but especially for one particular goddess that she was uh, owning her life to. A bit like us, a bit like me, when I was giving everything to the dragon. She was also devoting her life to this goddess that she loved very much. And she built temples, and she also devoted her life to know everything about this goddess, to know about this goddess, but also to experience about this goddess. And she was speaking about this god as with lots of love, with lots of devotion. But and of course, after a while, when people came to know about this, her temple was constantly full. The temple that she built, so for talking about her goddess, it was filled while she was saying everything about her goddess, that she is nice, that she's beautiful, that she's good. They were not really there for hearing about this goddess. They were there for her beauty, to glare, to glance upon her beauty. Her beauty was so stunning that Even men and women were just gazing upon her all this time, not hearing a word that she was saying about this goddess, but just was looking upon her beauty as a human being. The goddess herself noticed this after a while. Of course, the other gods were very jealous because this goddess had all of the attention. All of these people were going to the temple of this one particular goddess, but the reason for that was just for the one that was preaching for a goddess and was actually gazing upon her beauty. She noticed this goddess, and she was in her heart very jealous upon the one that actually loved her very much. But she couldn't do anything against her, of course, even though she wanted to do something against her. Even though she was giving her life to this goddess, even though she did everything for this goddess, even built a temple, even devoting her life for her, this goddess was very, very jealous. And after a while, one of these gods that were standing next to her, it was also seeing all of this attention that this goddess had in her temple, and he one day came down to earth in the form of a man, and he was actually planning to kill this girl, this beautiful girl, so that this will end, because he also was jealous upon this popularity that this goddess was having inside of her temple. He transformed into a man and tried to kill her, tried to destroy also the temple. And after a while, she of course had a lover. She had a lover very much, and she was very happy with him. He was also devoted to her. He would do everything for her. He worshipped her. And she was also very humble about this. She was a humble girl, but she finally met her lover very much. She was, of course, inside of the temple, while this god was kind of attacking this place and also tried to hurt this girl. Once her lover was seeing this, he tried to aid her, of course, and he punched this god in the face, who was now in flesh and blood. And she, of course, was already, she was afraid. She didn't know what was happening, and she was eventually saved by her own lover. And in the final act, this one god that was in the form of a man now tried to destroy it in his godlike form. He destroyed this temple of this goddess. He destroyed it and tried to, of course, kill both of them inside of it. But it didn't succeed. They survived, both of them. Although, now that this goddess was seeing the destruction of her temple, she blamed this girl for this. She blamed her because deep inside of her, she was just jealous for her beauty. She was jealous that these people were not coming to the temple for her glory, but the glory of this one girl. And just like this, once again, she had a visit from the goddess in this time, the goddess that was saying that it was all her fault, and she cursed her by her own blood, by her own spirit that she had. Even though she was born like a human being, her soul, what she had inside of her, was serpent-like. She was very much, not like everyone else, not at all. And now the curse that she laid upon this poor girl was now, from everyone that could see the outside of it, the beauty of it, now sees the serpent-like energy that she was holding inside of her. She was transforming into one big giant serpent. And so everything changed, because the temple was gone where she was, and now she was what people called her, a monster. She was seeing all of the destruction for the first time. She was changing, and she didn't even realize that she was changed. Of course, she saw her husband, her man, just injured on the floor. She was coming to aid him, but once she glared into the face of him, he completely turned into stone. She, of course, was devastated, crying her tears out. She was just so destroyed by the fact that she was blaming her for the death of her man, the death of her husband, because she just looked upon him for one final time before he turned into stone. She eventually stayed there, stayed inside of the ruins of this temple. She continued to love this goddess. She continued to pray for this goddess. She continued to guard the temple even though it was completely destroyed. She still tried to be with this goddess. And once this goddess noticed this, that she was still doing this, still loving her goddess, still loving her after all that she's done, she felt guilt. And that is the very first time a god, or a goddess in this case, felt guilt. She, of course, knew that this god did this, but in her heart she just wanted to punish her for the beauty that she had. That all of these people were coming not because of the goddess, but because of her beauty. And now she lived as one giant big serpent, some kind of a monster, feared by everyone. And all of the people that tried to steal the gold of the temple, the remaining gold, were just destroyed because they all looked upon her eyes and turned into stone. Feared monster, just like the dragons, just like the serpents, but that are also called as monsters. And just like the dragons and the serpents, they are born guardians and what they loved for. Just like the dragons, just like the serpents, they all love something very much. They devote their life to what they love, to how they love it, and that is how strong a dragon's eye, a dragon's connection, or a serpent's connection can be for the one that they love the most. She loved her goddess from the beginning until the last, even if she was such a horrible goddess for her child that she was loving her, but she didn't want to hear it because she was just so jealous. And after a while she felt guilt. And also after a while, one of these warriors has succeeded to kill her and cut off her head. Once her head was off, she was using her head, the head of this girl that was filled with serpents upon her head as hair. She was using her head as the sign of this goddess now, feeling guilt for what she has done to this poor girl. Of course, this is the story of Medusa, the story of the Greek mythology. And now that everyone is seeing Medusa, this girl, as some kind of a horrible creature that Perseus has slain, has cut off her head, because he was the hero in the story. He killed this girl. He destroyed her for using it for his own adventures, of course. But in fact, he ended the life of what was once a very, very beautiful girl, and once was also a very loved one by everyone. Now feared and destroyed by everyone. How looks can change. That is why I say to you that we shouldn't be afraid for what we do for the dragon. The dragon wants us and our own mind. Inside of our own story, we do whatever we want. If you want to meet your dragon, then listen to your instinct and your gut, because this is what it's going to have. I mean, even jealousy, even her own destruction, even what this goddess did to her. This is how strong a serpent is, a serpent godlike being can be. Once a dragon or a serpent loves someone, it's going to have this dragon eye, and it will not break anytime soon, whatever you are doing inside of your path, for your dragon or serpent energies that is surrounding you. Whatever you are doing for them, it will always be a pleasure for them, whatever you are doing for them. Of course, your dragon or serpent that is surrounding you can be sometimes angry and disappointed and thinking about you, but they will always be by your side. Never ever abandon you, whatever you do against them. Whatever you do, whatever you are saying that they are monsters, whenever you are doing this, they will not leave your side. And this story is reminding us how loyal and love, how much love a dragon or a serpent can have for the ones that they really and truly love. I mean, Medusa was feeling a lot of connection with Athena, and this connection she devoted her life to. Whatever she was doing, she was of course very afraid to do whatever. Of course, she was doing everything for Athena, yet it was not enough for her. But for a serpent like her, once this love is created, once this love and connection is there, it will not break anytime soon, just like us and our dragons. So listen to your instincts and do whatever your instincts are saying. Whenever they want to do something for your dragon or serpent, it will always be with love. It will always be something that they will receive with love and connection. They are not humans, they are dragons, they are serpents. And their love for us or the other gods or with who they have a connection with will be forever. It will be eternal. It will not break anytime soon. So don't be afraid of what you are doing for your dragons or serpents. Just do it with all the love that you have for them. My brothers and sisters, be blessed.